Welcome, Hades here. In this video, I just want to introduce a tool I've been using lately from the CSP asset store. So I've been using this for just to help me with backgrounds a bit, just because you know, when you're drawing on organic stuff, you can get away with things, but when you have buildings and things with right angles, you know, it helps to have a grid of some sort. So I came across this, but then I realized, yeah, this actually would be very good as a tool for helping you understand boxes and also camera lenses as well. I know that's something a lot of people get confused about. So I'm just going to go through. So I'll put the link for this this CSP asset in the description. So what it is, it's actually, so let me show you what actually comes with it. So you get the perspective grid. You also get these stacked boxes as well. All right. However, I just went on CSP store, the asset store, and I found just this wired box frame. So I'll also link that as well. And what I'll also do is I'll just give you a Dropbox link to this particular, what do you call this? A clip file. Alright, so you can just open it and get started. So obviously it's only for CSP. If you're using Photoshop or any other software, it's obviously not going to work. But I think I'm sure there's something out there for all software. Alright, so I'm just going to show you how you can use this to help you get started. Alright, so if you select the layer, and then you're going to want to go into objects. Alright, so I'll show what that symbol looks like on CSP. Alright, and then from there, so you click the object, and then you have these options up here. This lets you really fine tune the angle of the box. Alright, so the first one up here, that's just, so these first three are about the camera. Alright, so you can imagine my canvas as being the frame of, the camera. Like if I look through the viewfinder of a camera, like what would I see? So you can just think of it like that. So this first one is just a free rotation in any which way that you like. There's a vanishing point in front of me. There's one to the right, there's one to the left, and there's one behind, down, top, and bottom. So this just lets me rotate in whatever way I want. Alright, so that's quite nice. Alright, so you can really fine tune. You can even go into, so you'll see this, what do you call this, a wrench? Right, if you click on that, that'll open the subtool settings and you can really fine tune how you rotate this. But just to, for a hands-on approach, let's just focus on these tools up here. So the next one is just moving the camera up, down, left, right. Alright, so that's what that does. And then the next one is the distance of the camera to the object. So am I bringing the camera close to the object, or am I looking at this thing from far away? Alright, and you can really pull back. Alright, so that's what that is simulating for us. Okay, and these next ones are very handy. So this one here, so this refers to the object. So the first three are about the camera. Alright, so my viewing angle and such. This next one here is a control for the object itself. And again, you can go to the, you can click on this wrench down here, and it'll take you into the subtool settings, and you can really fine tune your X, Y, and Z. However, you can you can fine tune quite a bit just from here. So this first one. Alright, so I'm just moving the object across the canvas, and obviously as I move it, it's matching the perspective of, you know, my viewing point. Alright, so on this side I can see the left side of the box, but if I move it to this side I can see the right side of the box, right? So that's what it's doing. This next one here is rotating the box in any way. Alright, so I can rotate it in any way I like. Alright, so maybe you want to do this, or again, if you want to really fine tune your rotations, so let me just come back here. We can go to these next ones here. Alright, so this rotates the box. Right, you can see the little tick marks. Right, so if I'm here and I want to rotate to 90, okay, I know that's going to be right here. Okay, and then the next one we have is rotation, but in this axis. Right, I can't remember which one's X, Y, and Z, but you know, you need a reference for boxes and you want to really fine tune something. You have something right here in CSP. Right, and it's all free. Right, so you can really nail that down. All right, and I can hopefully answer some questions you have about boxes. So this one, I believe, is just placing the thing closer to the vanishing point or closer to us. Right, so, right, obviously you can do this stuff in Blender or any other 3D software, but it's just the controls are quite intuitive, so that's quite nice. So in terms of simulating lenses, what you can do there is, so again you can go to the wrench, go to the subtool settings, but if you just scroll, that will simulate, that will change the lens simulation. Right, so obviously I'm not a master at this stuff, but what you'll see is I've zoomed in, or rather I'm scrolling one way, right, and it's doing this. If I scroll the other way, it does this. And you'll notice the box is looking different as I do that. Right, so as I zoom, you know, so in the setting it'll be perspective, and it'll start at 1 and it'll go all the way to some other number, I can't remember. So this would be perspective 1 on that scale. And this is going to simulate a telephoto lens, right? And telephoto lenses, the lines are just, everything about what you have is very parallel, right? There's no sense of converging quickly. All right, but if we go the other way, so just look at the box, so let's find a good angle. All right, so I'm gonna increase the perspective. All right, so I'm just using the scroll to do this, and you'll see that the box starts to look different compared to this, right? This is a very long lens, right? Yeah, as I do this, we start to get into what would be similar to what we see as, you know, humans, right? Which is like a 40mm, 50mm, something along those lines. So that we would just call a medium lens, right? So this would be long, and then something around here would be a medium, right? This is the sort of feeling we get. Like if this box was, I don't know. We just imagine this was some kind of building. I mean, the closer you get to it, and if you look up, those angles start to get really steep, right? And we're sort of simulating that. Go here. I'm just going to take this thing closer to. I'm going to move the camera backwards a bit. All right, and then I'm going to increase that perspective. Right, look at that distortion. All right, so pay attention to this corner I have over here. So look at this corner up here. And notice how it changes. Oops, I need to go into objects to control this. Right, so it really distorts, and this will be more pronounced as I take this object to the ends of my frame. So right now the box is quite centered, so the distortion is still there, of course, but it's not as pronounced as it would be if I moved it. So let me go ahead and show you what that looks like. So I'll just take my camera and just move it so that the object is now onto this side of the screen. All right, you can see it's really distorted because this is a cube. However, from how we see it now, this face here, this face that I'm looking at right here, the one that goes across, this face here is, the length is clearly different from this other side that I've just crossed, right? So that's just a result of distortion, because if I take this thing back into the center of the frame again, let's take this, so notice the distortion is starting to go away. but as I take it to the left, the distortion comes back. Right? If I go to the edge of my frame, this distortion becomes very pronounced. All right, and if you've seen my perspective basics for figure drawing video that I posted somewhat recently, you'll remember that distortion happens when you start to go out of that 90-degree angle. Well, there's a safe zone, so if you start going outside that safe zone, things really, really get distorted. All right, and this is right. You're pretty much seeing that happen right now. But if I go back into that long lens setting and I try the same thing again, right, look how it doesn't even, nothing's changing. I can move it anywhere in my frame and those lines on this box show no distortion. If I go to something medium, so let's talk about what's medium, or how we can just roughly say what's medium, what's wide, and what's long. So I got this vanishing point here, and then the good thing about this is this horizon line, it just extends even off the canvas. All right, so that's quite helpful. So if I zoom in, well, I'm not zooming in, sorry. It's just, if I change the perspective, so this is, you can see the vanishing point, and the next vanishing point is really all the way over there. All right, so it's the second vanishing point is really off the page, and it's not necessarily, those aren't going to be the vanishing points, obviously, because you're going to, if you start rotating this box, those vanishing points are going to move. Obviously, these aren't going to move, but the vanishing points for the box are going to move. And that's another thing you can do as well. You can, you can like set your box here, and then you could take, was it this one? All right, you can just do this and rotate it, and then trace where those vanishing points would go. In fact, if you try and find the vanishing points with a long lens is actually quite difficult, because you really have to be careful, because very little shifts in your angles can have big effects. Okay, so let's put that back to where it was. Let me just zoom out. Okay, so medium, now the vanishing points are going to be closer. All right, so if my vanishing point is here, so let me see how long it takes to get to the other vanishing point. All right, so still far away, but didn't take as long. All right, and we can really exaggerate this when we have a wide angle. All right, so if I increase that perspective in terms of this subtool, right, I'm gonna have that. But what I can do now is I can get these two vanishing points to be on the canvas, right? And that happening is telling me that I'm working with a wide angle lens. Because this is only really going to happen if you have a wide angle lens. Right, in all the other cases with a medium, these things will just be further away. And the longer your lens gets, the further away they become. Alright, so that's just a very basic way of just calculating your lens. Alright, so that's just one way to do it. Of course, really what you'd want to do, let me just zoom in there. So I can see both my lenses on the page, so I'm obviously working with a wide angle lens. And then, so as long as I'm in the center, so let's zoom out a bit. So as long as it's roughly in the center, the distortions won't be so pronounced. But if it goes off the page or off the canvas or gets close to those corners, then that's when the distortion really starts to show. Right? And the wider your angle gets, the more distorted your box will get. And the longer it is, right, then you start to get zero distortion, right, when it's close to being off the page. Right, so long lens looks fine. Wide angle. Alright, so I have to adjust it a bit. So wide angle, you get that. Alright, so yeah, that's about it. So yeah, like I said, I'll leave this particular file in the description so you can just grab it and just start playing around with these tools. Alright, so now you have something to help you, and you know, if there's something confusing you about how to rotate a box in this particular angle, well, now you can literally do it in this software without too much trouble. Alright, so maybe we're gonna rotate a box in this weird angle, and then now I can do that. I can rotate on this axis quite precisely. I can do it on the other one too. Play around with it and just get a sense of those are long lenses, wide angle lenses, medium lenses, and just the way things look, or why things start to distort. Right, so really, I'm sure you'll come up with lots of great ways to use this. And don't forget that this wrench down here, if you just click it, it'll bring up the subtool, and then you'll have things like the camera placement, I guess. I got mine in Japanese. Right, and you can reset things as well. Nice free tool from the asset store to really help you I guess figure out those weird angles and those things that you just weren't sure of. Because in most cases we're not using references for boxes, are we? Or if we do, you might use Sketchfab and you don't have as much control. Whereas this, you got full control and you can really fine tune it in the subtool settings. Okay, yeah, that's pretty much it. Link in the description for everything. And I'll see you all in the next one.